Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ferguson Harrington Hawks.
I'm Ferguson.
I'm Harrington.
And I am Hawks.
Woo! Throwing pads.
And this is our podcast where we talk about stuff and things.
Very important stuff.
Yeah.
Very important stuff like chickens.
Like chickens, yay, there you go. And bees.
And bees. Yeah, we're getting bees now. Can you believe it, listeners? Listener?
Tell us what.
What do you think,
what
Mum?
are you calling it?
Well, the chickens, the chicken coop is called Cluckywood, right?
Yeah,
Because we
yeah.
live in LA. We live in LA, which sounds glamorous, but just if you're not in LA, and even if you are in LA, I want you to know that LA, when it rains, looks exactly like Croydon. So keep that in your mind.
Yeah, especially
it's
Van
true,
Nuys.
isn't it, Ches? Yeah. What do you say? The magical kingdom of Van Nuys?
Magical Kingdom of
looks
Van
like-
Nuys. You know I love the Magical Kingdom of Van
So
Nuys.
the bees are called, what's it going to be called?
Buzzywood.
Buzzywood.
And Mark is now building a worm farm, which is like basically a really good composter thing, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to call that Wormwood Scrubs. A little taste of hope.
This is why you tune in, listeners. This is the
Update
gold.
on Lynn's garden.
This is the stuff. This is what we're paid for. No, we're not. Can't even give it away. What are you
Basically, the
talking about?
podcast is about Lynn's garden.
We have important stuff to talk about, though. Didn't we agree that in this series we were going to try and be brainy? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like two dyslexics and an idiot, though, right? So, like, how we're going to manage it, I don't know. But Ches had this brilliant idea, didn't you, Ches? Because
What was that? Did I?
Listener,
The listener?
because
Mum.
listener, aside from being adorable, Chesney is also very smart.
Very
Aren't you?
brainy.
Very brainy. Ches had this idea that we should be smarter, and we thought, oh, that's a challenge because you know we're not that smart. But the world at the moment feels like it might be getting a bit less contemplative, maybe. I don't know. Would you agree
Good
with that,
word.
boys?
A long
Yeah,
word.
good. It's a good. It makes me sound smart, right? So, but I
a long
bet
word.
as two dyslexics, you could not spell that. In fact, if you
Not a
annoy me
chance.
today, I'm going to make you spell it. So Chesney had this idea about that we should bring in quotations and we would discuss what that quotation means, and we would have guests who would sort of personify, I think that's another good brainy word,
Really good
what
word.
we feel that quotation
You're on a
means.
roll, Lynn.
Anyway, so Chesney, do you have a quote?
Yes. Well, I think as time goes on, we will probably have our guests choose their own favourite quote. But because this
Right.
was a little bit last minute, I decided to choose our guest's quote for him. So the quote that I'm going to use for our guest today is, "Dedication is what you need," by Roy Castle.
Is he a record breaker? Is that what it is? Is he a record
We're
breaker?
showing our age with that.
Breaker.
So aren't we? So yeah,
Yeah.
that was Roy Castle, the Record Breakers, what, 1970?
I mean, I think he was.
know.
That was going through the 80s. I mean, I
Was it?
remember. Yeah, I
I
remember.
really hope our listener is older than 25.
Yeah,
As soon as our listener is my mum, I think we're okay.
Well, if they're not, what we can do is we can sort of shrink it down a bit, and we can just sort of pare it down to just the word dedication, maybe, and just look at that, because it's an interesting word, because where it actually comes from is probably not the manner in which we use it today and the context we use it today.
Pray tell, Neil.
So it actually goes back to the 14th century, in which is referred to the solemn act of dedicating something, such as a calendar day or a church, to a deity or to a sacred use. And then centuries later, it came to be used for the act of devoting time and energy to a particular purpose. And obviously nowadays, dedication commonly indicates the quality of being loyal or devoted to a cause, ideal, or purpose. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? That religious thing of, I'm going to dedicate this building. I'm going to dedicate this temple. What would you dedicate?
Well, how about I dedicate this song to you?
That's nice. I'm actually kind of speechless for once, because I'm like, whoa, Neil Harrington, you have dedicated yourself to being smart. Did you hear all those big words that came out there? I was like, who is this? Is this Neil
actual
What is this?
preparation.
I've got to say,
happening to us?
I didn't go further than page 2 of Google, but I felt the ambivalence, or I felt the vagueness of pages 1 and 2 of Google was more interesting directions than maybe a more analysed, defined sort of look.
I think the reason that this particular topic or quote was chosen for our guest is because our friend has dedicated his life to a certain thing. In the same way that I've dedicated my life to music and kind of,
And
spent
being
hours
adorable.
Yes, that was the other thing. Those are two things that I dedicated my life to. And done that kind of 10,000 hours thing. That's what I think this topic is really about, dedicating and not perfecting, I guess, because what is perfection? But actually
Especially
working.
in a creative sense.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's one man's meat, right? So,
Yeah.
But we're always learning, right? And if you're in a particular place in life, you can always learn more. Everyone can always move on forward in something that they do, and so that's where I see us going.
I think that's a really good point, actually. I hadn't even thought about it, but I suppose my dedication would be story. I started acting, and so you learn about story from the top of it, really, by presenting it, then writing. So you start by creating, and now I'm really into the thing about the stories that people are telling, like what everybody's transmitting all the time. And I think that's that 10,000 hours thing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, Mark, when I do like the reading of people, that we'll do later on, people will say, ooh, is it psychic powers? Ooh, like that. And Mark goes, nah, it's just she's been doing story for years and years, and so she understands the structuring of it. It's like you can pick up a guitar and do anything, really, right?
Yeah.
Well,
And you, Neil, can make any sound okay, even us.
Yeah, that's fucking dedication.
When I listen to music, I hear the chords, and I can kind of feel where the structure is going, and I can feel where the melody can go and wouldn't go, And when you listen to people tell a story, you see what's actually going on inside their head, because you've been doing it for so long, and you're so good at it because of that.
Yeah.
Aw, you are adorable.
I know.
Isn't he adorable? I'm quite excited about this guest. I really am. I feel like the story that he's been presented as often is completely not the story as to who he really is, right? That often he's portrayed as somebody that he's not. So I'm excited about seeing him today. Okay, Chesney, are you ready for this? What Neil's really been like? He's taken... You know what Neil's like. You know what Neil's like, Chesney. If you say something to him, he can't put the f***er down. He will
it's like
study
a dog with a bone.
He totally is. So because you said smart, right? Because you said smart, Neil's been getting... Like, that whole quote about dedication... That's not the only smart thing he's doing.
No,
look
I have a feeling there's more. There's more to come, and I'm so excited.
Right, are you ready, Neil? Here's your moment.
Would you like a countdown? How about a drum roll?
Set up to fail or what? Do you know what I mean? Most of you will know our guest today from Strictly Come Dancing and more recently Dancing on Ice. In fact, he just generally represents the word dancing. He is focused, he is handsome, athletic, smart. In fact, if he wasn't such a nice guy, we'd hate him. I am, of course, talking about New Zealand-born charmer, Brendan Cole, ladies and gentlemen. On our podcast.
What an intro! Crikey, I hate you already.
Hey, you know what I think you missed out, though? I have to say, I think you missed out Swarthy.
Oh, Swarthy.
Because there's Swarthy. There's something about you, Brendan Cole, that's a little... Yeah, you're a little bit piratey. Do you not think he's a little bit piratey? I'm like, he's like a dancing pirate, Brendan Cole. Because you got that glint in your eye and the whole swashbuckling thing.
I'm sure you've been called worse. You've definitely been called worse.
Much.
Now, for you listeners, this is Brendan's one of my mates I'm bringing into as one of our first guests on Series 3. And we've known each other for a while now, haven't we, mate?
Many years. Yes.
First met. We did a supercar challenge from London down to Le Mans.
Oh, awesome!
We did the most ridiculous thing. Out of nowhere, there came this challenge to drive supercars all the way across France to go Le Mans. Why would you say no?
Why would you say no?
Right, that's exactly why you're in showbiz. That's what it's for.
Yeah,
those
no,
sort of
One of the
opportunities.
few perks that come our way.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we stayed in castles, and I took my father-in-law with me, do you remember? George,
That's right.
who I'm sure will be sending his love right now. And we hung out with Joe
Indeed.
Swash in a castle in somewhere
boy.
just south of Paris. And anyway, we had a good time. And we've been mates ever since, haven't we, mate?
Indeed. What a lovely memory, actually. One of the finest. So, yes, and here we are. What, 10 years later, 15 years later? I don't even know how many years later.
I think
but,
it probably is like 15. I know that sounds crazy, but, you know.
kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, you went off and had a load of kids in the meantime, didn't you?
Yeah, just a couple.
Couple of kids. Congratulations.
So Chesney had this idea, when he's not driving about in supercars, he had this idea that he wanted to make Series 3 of our podcast a bit smarter, like we
Okay.
should be brainier.
Right.
Which is why we have you,
I was
brainy
gonna
and
say-
swarthy.
Crikey, I'm not sure you hit the money right on the head, but we'll give it a
So
whirl.
Chesney's plan was that we would discuss a topic or a quote, and the one that he thought would be right for you is the quote, you probably don't remember Record Breakers, you might have been in New Zealand at the time,
May have been.
but it was
Possibly, but go on.
Roy Castle saying dedication is what you need, because he feels that dedication is kind of something that you personify.
Thank
Would
you very
that-
much. I think
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah, thank you. Dedication for me is to succeed in life. You need dedication to succeed in anything, whether it be a relationship or work or something you're driven by. Passion fuels that dedication, and without it, you'd have to be a very lucky individual to succeed. So yes, dedication is something I've always tried to throw into whatever I'm focused on at any given moment.
Well, you must be really good at it. I tell you why, because we were talking about you before in a lovely way, except the guys were a bit jealous of your swarthiness, which is why they didn't mention it, right? But that what they were discussing was that, like, how as a little kid in New Zealand, right, do you go, you know what? I think what I want to do is I'm going to be also like I'm a male, a little boy in
Yeah.
New Zealand, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to really. I think I'm going to be well known as being a magic dancer. That takes a bit of,
Courage, yeah.
pizzazz.
Yeah.
Courage.
Right.
They possibly should have locked me up at some point along the way and had me examined. It's a very weird thing to do. And when I look back at how my career developed, and one of the things that fueled my passion, if you like, was actually it was almost the adversity of what I was doing and having people almost take the mickey out of me for being a dancer, because Mum wanted us to dance. My brother, sister, and I. She wanted us all to dance, and so we did. I didn't love it at first, but it became something that we just never stopped. You know, whether like football, you hang up the boots at the end of the season. Eventually, maybe you might not go back. With dancing, never stopped. So we just continued on this path of being dancers, and then the bug gets you, and you go, do you know what? I'm actually quite good at this. I can make this a career. But the more people told me that I was ridiculous, and big girl's blouse and all the other things that you used to call people back in those days, the more people said it, the more I went, dear, all right, let's go. I'm gonna push, and I'm gonna push, and I'm gonna push.
Billy Elliot story in a way, isn't it?
But yeah, it's kind of weird. When I look back and think, goodness me, I'm a ballroom dancer. It's a very odd thing to.
How did I get here?
Yeah, exactly. But determination was a massive factor in that, and actually just the step of being an 18-year-old, I actually came over to the UK to do a world championship representing the country. I mean, it wasn't anything exciting, but it was exciting for me
I'd say that's
and my
exciting.
partner at the time. Well, it was, in the world of ballroom dance, going over to do a ballroom dancing championship, it's an odd thing to travel the world for. So I had this opportunity to do it, and part of that journey was I came to London, and London at the time, it's not anymore, but at the time it was very much the home of ballroom and Latin dancing, and all the people that were amazing within the field, like the world champions, all the big judges, the people that you saw on the videotapes back then, they were the ones that you looked up to from little old New Zealand, because you didn't really get the coaching there. So you were studying the videos and going, okay, this is what I have to do. To walk into this studio in South London one particular day and see not only the world champions practicing, who were absolute icons, 15 times world champions, but all the people that were up against them and dedicated people going hell for leather, basically, on this journey to try and be number one, to try and be the world champions themselves, or get close to, and try and make a career out of ballroom dancing. And there is a big career to be had out of ballroom dancing, believe it or not. And I walked into this place, and I had this like epiphany moment where I went, I need a piece of this. I want to be a part of this scene. And I set myself a target to be back before my 19th birthday. And I turned 18 whilst I was there. So I moved back virtually a year later. I went home. I actually crashed my car, wrote off my car, got the insurance, had £1,000 from the insurance. and the rest is history. A one-way ticket. See you later, Mum. Sorry, thanks for raising me all these years. I'm off. Which I feel so bad about. Because imagine I never thought my children, my daughter's 9, my son's 4. At some point, they're going to leave me and go to the other side of the world.
That's what just happened to me, Brendan. I've got an 18-year-old daughter who's now just moved to Scotland. She's studying at St Andrews University.
Oh, my goodness.
But that's what
that's something.
For me, I think that's the greatest compliment as a parent now, is that you've raised them so to a point where they're happy to go out into the world. And you obviously were ready. You were cooked. The bell had gone.
Bursting at the seams to get out, and it's a very strange thing to do. I'm off to study ballroom dancing on the other side of the world. I possibly won't be back, and the rest is actually history.
But that's a good. We've got the subject of dedication today. That is something very apt at that age, Brendan. Is it? You've got to be really dedicated at that age to go and pursue something like that.
Yeah, and fearless in a way. You can't have a minute of fear will stop you in your tracks. Worrying about what might be around the corner, and I think. You're either a person who accepts a challenge, walks through the door that is presented to you, or you stop at that door and go, do you know what? I'm not ready to go through this door at this time. And that's true of life. Everywhere you go, every turn you make could be a different direction your life takes, whether it be meeting your future partner or moving to a different city or a different country. All of these opportunities, a different job comes your way. Do I take it? It's going to take me out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to do that. That is the excitement of life, and one very much that has been missed in the last few years with all the political stuff that's been going on, the lockdowns and what have you. To have opportunities now, I don't know about you lot, but I'm gagging for opportunities, and every single one of them, I'm going to be walking through that door because it's exciting.
It's a just say yes moment.
Exactly.
Someone as swarthy as you, Brendan, not to say you're gagging for opportunities. Our lady listeners and gentlemen listeners out there, will be like, whoa, I have an opportunity for
Don't make me laugh, I'm getting over it.
But like one of the things that I find so very interesting about you is that I feel that you, certainly when you joined Strictly, it brought personality to ballroom dancing. Like, not only were you like a dancer and people are like, that swarthy guy, but you became the guy who had personality, and sometimes they were like, well, he's got too much personality, you should just wear a lovely outfit and be pretty.
It's a very interesting situation, that, because you either make a name for yourself or you fade into the background and eventually dwindle out. I probably went too far in the. I mean, I was young. I was 28, quite a macho kind of character. Didn't want to be seen as a sissy dancer. That's all gone away now. I'm quite happy to be seen as a sissy dancer, and
you always love
I have
the
nothing
sequins.
to prove. Exactly. And listen, put an outfit on me. I had a photo shoot this morning for a gig that I've got at the end of the year, and it was a full outfit, and I loved it. Give me a bit of makeup and a wig. Let's go.
Sequintastic.
But at the time, I was really wanted to prove myself to anybody watching that I wasn't gay. First of all, my brother's gay, and I suppose I had a thing about that where I didn't want to be seen. I love my brother and very much respect his gayness, but I didn't want to be seen as the same as him, and he was a dancer, so I had to separate myself from that. Yeah. It was that young adolescent stupidity, I guess. Whereas now I don't give it a thought, and I think I was trying to prove by being this character. That softened over the years, thankfully, and some people loved it, and some people absolutely hated it. In fact, one of the heads of entertainment at the BBC She was a bit of a fan of mine. Anytime we spoke, she's like, "I love what you do. Just keep on going, keep on going." And she said to me, "You'll always have a place on the show as long as I'm here." And I was like, "Oh, great, thank you very much." And about 2 years before I left Strictly, she came up to me at the rep party and said, "Oh, Brendan, listen, let me say goodbye. I'm actually leaving the BBC. I've got this new opportunity I'm going to take." And I went, "Oh shit! Oh my goodness, my days are numbered," and they were, because depending on who's in power, you're either liked or hated, and unfortunately, the other person that was in power didn't like me as much as she did. So it's one of those things. It gets you a certain way, but you've got to check yourself every now and then. And thankfully, I'm a very well-rounded individual at this 45, turning 46 in a few days stage of my life.
Yeah.
So if we take the real Brendan Cole and the Brendan Cole that has to go out there and put the number on and put the makeup on and and do that, how much of a different person is that? How much of a difference is there between those two?
I'd say showbiz Brendan is probably a 20 to 30% more extroverted.
Yeah.
When I'm on a stage, I walk on the stage and I make sure that I own the stage, regardless of who else is on it. There's a persona that certainly comes out. Hopefully he has a little bit of charm. He has a bit of funniness and it's what it is, and perfection to detail. I very much want what I'm doing at any given moment to be seen as extremely good, if it can be.
Yeah.
Whereas at my home life, I'm certainly not as bolshy as that, and I'm certainly not I don't believe in myself as much as when I'm on a stage. But I think you've got to have that to enable yourself to exceed, to excel in that environment. Chaz, you walk out on that stage, so people are going, "Right, entertain me. What have you got?"
Yeah.
And the moment you show weakness, or you may as well go
Oh
home.
God, forget it. Yeah, of course. You have to have that, and I think with you being used to being on stage and me being used to being on stage, I can completely and utterly relate to that. There's it is another persona in a way, but then you have to bring yourself to it because people have to like you. You know what I mean?
They
do.
They do.
Oh, God bless you. But so when I'm on stage now, yes, there is that kind of 30% of I've got to up this because I'm entertaining people here.
Yeah.
But then I always bring me, like my personality. You know what I mean? So
It has to be you.
Yeah, and I remember my dad saying from an early age, just pretend that the people in the crowd are like your friends that are just sitting in your living room. And then you'll be okay. You'll be fine, because they have to relate to you as a person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the beauty also about being on a stage is that generally, unless you're there as something that's not part of what's actually going on, and you're just sort of there as a filler or whatever, that people are there to see you. They want to see what you've got to offer, and that's a beautiful feeling. That's a magical feeling. I've toured the UK and Ireland for over 10 years with my own theatre productions. I've done 5 different productions. And I finished the last one in March 2020, just before all the lockdowns, or 1920. It was something that it defined me as a person and as an entertainer to actually have to produce my own show, create it, cast it, costume it, do all those things that it takes to put on a good production. And when I watched it back from the side and saw my dancers doing what they were doing, and the feeling I got from walking on that stage is the best feeling I can. It's like being your own rock star. I know it's not. You're only entertaining 1,000 odd people, 1,500 people, but to me it was worth every bit of heartache and sweat to get to that moment. And people are there to see
like
you.
Dedication to me.
Dedication.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Loved it.
One of the things that we were talking about there is the story that people have of you and the story of who you are, right? So like the person you are on stage and the person who you are. And that's sort of my area.
Yeah.
Which is so Neil is Mr. Sound. If you need sound, he's sound, right?
Yeah.
And Chesney, if you need music, there's music and adorability there. But I work in story.
Right.
So I was wondering if I could do a little story with you.
Oh, go on then. Go on then.
Well, how it works, don't you dare do that, Swarthy. You get me all bothered. Right? What it is I listen to the stories that people are telling, like the stories that people say and what is underneath it. So I'm going to ask you to tell me a story for 2 minutes. Right?
Okay.
I'll tell you what the story is, so you don't have to panic.
All right.
Not that you panic
No.
anyway. It's just not your
Never.
thing.
No.
You do not panic.
Never.
It doesn't work, and it's not a pirate's way, Brendan. It's not a pirate's way.
Funny that you say
And I will write it down. I'll write stuff down.
Okay.
And then after it, I'll tell you what I hear. Are you up for it?
I'm up for it. Let's do it.
Awesome. Right, okay. I'm going to set my little timer here. So for 2 minutes, I would like you to tell me the story of your name.
The story
Are you
of
ready?
my name. Okay.
You ready?
Go.
Go.
Yes. The story of my name, Brendan Cole. Well, I was almost Christopher Cole, and I heard a chap on the radio called Christopher Cole, and I pictured myself being Christopher Cole, and it didn't quite suit. I don't love my name. Brendan is certainly not showbiz friendly, but my mum wanted me to be called Brendan because it was a name within her family. I have she has cousins, a cousin called Brendan, and I think it was handed down from there. The name Cole, all of my roots are actually Scottish, from way up in Aberdeen, right down, and also sort of north of England, Newcastle way as well. But ultimately Scottish, and Cole was my father's name, and his father's before him, and his father's before him. So I guess that was handed down. I like the name Cole. It feels strong to me. I don't mind hearing it when people call my name. And Brendan, I could do without. I wish I'd thought of it a much better stage name when I went into showbiz in 2004, but I didn't because I was naive and silly. How's that? Is that 2 minutes? Do you want more?
No, 53 seconds you've got to go.
Crikey.
Keep going. You're not getting out of it that easily.
No, Brendan Cole. It's a weird thing. Your name, obviously, your parents want to call their children names. For me, it was really important to name my children something that I thought they were going to love. I'm not sure my mum thought it through when she thought of Brendan. I don't see it as such a great name. But I think the fact that she loves it and the fact that she wanted to give it to me, she loves it. So I suppose that's a really important thing, even though I did leave her when I was 18. I don't know what else I'm supposed to say about my name. I don't really like it. If I loved it, I'd sit here and tell you how cool I am, but I'm not. Tell me that's a minute and a half.
There you go. You've done it. Oh, Brendan Cole, aye, mate.
Well done, mate.
Sorry to put you on the spot there, mate.
All right, that's all right.
Do you know, though, I love you more, Brendan Cole. So like, the story of your name is how you see yourself, right?
Oh, right.
And, yeah, and you are very much, I don't want to talk about how I feel, but I'll show you how I feel.
Okay.
Right? You'll know how I feel by how I show you. Mm-hmm. And also, you don't really like talking about yourself at all. Right? I'll just ask me to do something, I will do it.
Yeah.
Do not ask me to talk about myself. I don't like it very much.
No,
So
it's not one.
it's you know. And also, what I should say about this is you are totally free to disagree with this. This is not like Mystic Meg or whatever.
All
So
right.
if I say something and it's rubbish, you can go, that's rubbish.
Okay.
I'm swarthy. Shut up. Right, you can say that. Would be good.
All right.
So what is in your name is about the sound of you. And what comes through is about how much you love your mum, even though she, it's not that she doesn't understand you, but you feel very responsible for her, like that you would hate to hurt her feelings.
Yes.
And family, my little friend, I'm glad you found a lovely wife and had children, because family matters everything. And
Yes.
that's everything, isn't it?
Yes, it
It's
does.
like the lineage and being a good guy and show that you're a good guy and display who you are in actions. Don't just say you're going to do something. If you're going to do something, do it.
Yes.
Right? Do it, then talk about it. Don't talk about it and never do it. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
that
Does
makes
that sound
sense.
like the story of you?
It sounds like very much the story of me. Yeah. I'm a changed man from when we all are. Once we have children, everything becomes focused on them. And actually, all my behaviour, both on screen and off screen, changed the moment I had children. It changed a little bit once I had a wife, lovely Zoe. But then once you have children, then it's really important that whatever you're portraying, whatever you're putting forward, has to be something that is never going to embarrass them or lessen their life, I suppose. So that was a nice thing to have happen in one's life, and we all feel it
But
as
I
parents.
think, see, in your story, I think you were like that before, though. Like, because what in someone's story comes through is the sound of who they are, and I think that actually this thing in you of don't just talk about it, do it, is why you, as a young boy in New Zealand, were like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And also early on, there's a thing about, you talk about the Christopher Cole on the radio, that I think from quite early on, you knew you weren't going to stay in New Zealand. You were like, these people here are good, but this isn't where I belong. I belong somewhere over there, and that's where I'm going. And sometimes when people are all about action, then it can be misinterpreted as ego.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. But, like, you really are just a guy who does stuff. It's like, literally, I sort of think I'd like to have you round the house, except if I said, Brendan, let's have a cup of tea. I'm thinking of digging up that part of the garden. It would be dug up before the tea was made.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's true.
So
That's
I think I like you even more than your swarthiness. Right?
Thanks. Yes. Cool.
No, I was just going to wonder if dedication came naturally to you then. Do you feel that dedication was a natural thing linked to this doing?
Yes. A lot to do with my father not really being around much when we were kids. He left. Mum and Dad split up when I was 6, going on 7. Around about the same time as I started dancing, weirdly. The thing with him not being around, there was no father figure on a day-to-day basis, and he'd have us every few days, and then every few days became a weekend, and then it became every second weekend, and all that kind of thing. Mm. He just wasn't a great dad. He was still my mate, so that's all good. And right up until when he passed away 12, 13 years ago, we were great friends. He was my dad, but we're much more mates. And the fact that he wasn't around, I wanted to fill that role. It was really important to me. I wanted to do everything. I'll do it, Mum. I'll do it, Mum. I wish my children would be a bit more like that.
They will. They'll get there, mate. They're young.
Seriously. Could somebody please put their own stuff away?
That comes later.
Please. Honestly. So, I have very strong memories of all of that kind of thing, and wanting to be the man of the house, even at a silly age of like 7, 8, 9, when I wasn't even possible to be the man of the house, and even went to the point where my mum's now husband, but her boyfriend, when I was about 15, he came in. Ooh, Brenda did not like this. Chest puffed out. I mean, we had a proper. He's the most lovely guy. I couldn't wish for a better fella for my mum. We had a proper punch up in the driveway,
really?
Just purely because we could not. He could not tolerate me, and I could not tolerate him. I think he went easy on me. I was only 15. He could have probably pummeled the hell out of me. But it's one of those things. I wanted to be old before my time. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to conquer everything. I wanted to make the surroundings better, and I wanted to be the best at whatever I did. Not at the detriment of somebody else, but for my own personal. If this is my task, I will be the best at it that I can be.
You said something earlier on that kind of struck with me. You said that as long as passion is behind it, the dedication will follow. And I think that's very, very apparent with you. If you're passionate about something, you're going to go to absolutely the ends of the earth to make sure that you've got it right. Which is why it felt so good for you to create your own show. And to sit back and watch what you've achieved and the crowd to love it, and that pride has come through from your passion for what you do.
The passion for me is, I guess, everything that is in my life I am passionate about, and things that I'm not passionate about, they tend to just dwindle away. That was the most amazing thing about doing the Dancing Ice that I've just finished doing. To be able to dedicate 6 months of my life with absolute passion and with absolute determination, knowing that eventually after the first 3 weeks where I was rubbish, once I found that little bit of hang on, I've got this, to be able to then try and exceed or try and excel at that thing and be taken on the journey with the most amazing partner, Vanessa Bauer. She was insanely good and the perfect partner for me, to have that momentum and to have that passion. I mean, it's only been a couple of 3 weeks since we finished. I properly miss it because it was my passion.
Well, Brendan, I can relate to this. As you know, I did Dancing on Ice, and
Absolutely, you did.
My story's not quite as celebrated as
that's all
yours,
right,
unfortunately.
We've all got different journeys.
But I understand what you're saying, because I had an amazing partner in Jodine Higgins. She's so amazing and such a lovely girl, and we got on like a house on fire, and we gelled and we did really well. But I had the same thing, like, you know, it's a 4 months of training beforehand, and then you go into the show. So I dedicated, and you can't do anything else, can you, Brendan? It's like, it's all consuming. I mean, you know, I couldn't even think about writing a songs or like, you know, doing gigs and stuff. I did a couple of gigs in that time, but I remember thinking, I don't want to do this. I'd rather be on the ice. And I absolutely fell in love with ice skating. The dancing side, not so much, because I think I'm a bit of a two left feet. The arc would have been definitely apparent, I think. But my story is I broke my leg literally 3 days before the first show, and I didn't get to actually perform, which was I was gutted. Brendan,
the thought is horrific, mate. That thought of doing all the 4 months, like you say, 4 months of training to get to that point, and then it's gone. Sorry, you're off. There's
and also the other thing that happened was I was like, Jodine at that point was like family to me, and like, you know, Chrissy, my wife, got on really well with her and her husband. Sean, and yeah, I know it was great. I mean, we really got on. But then see what happened with it is when, as soon as I'm out, you know, Chico took over, and so I had to watch Chico, you know, take my place and dance with Jodine, and it was really hard. It was tough.
That is harsh. That is really harsh. Well, midway through my my stint on the show, I had Vanessa had a positive test, so she had to sit out a week, and I had the option of dancing with another girl, one of the other pros, Robin. I said absolutely not. I won't do it. I can't dance with another woman in front of my Vanessa. Because it's you invest too much time with them, and it would have felt like cheating in a very weird way, not in a sexual way. She was half my age, but just that feeling of no, I can't do it. But I said, however, I'm happy to dance with Brendan. I did a male sort of number, and I loved it. It was powerful. It was exciting.
Was great.
Really
that was
fun.
A great fix for that situation, right?
It was the perfect fix. It was the perfect moment. I felt sorry for Vanessa still struggled to watch it, but she was. I'd imagine it would have been much harder if it had been, let's say, Robin.
Isn't it funny how, I mean, you and I have that kind of celebrity thing where now and again we go and do things that are not our thing. Like, you know, I've done MasterChef. I did like the games, which is like, you know, Olympic disciplines and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how you can find something, you know, in a stage of our life like this, where you get the opportunity to work with these incredible people like you do in Dancing on Ice, and fall in love with something. Like, you know, you almost
phenomenal.
think, this could have been a path for me, you know? It's like,
you know,
absolutely. I was like, what? I absolutely loved it, you know? But I love that part of it. And just the fact that you have to dedicate your time to it, because you know you've got like it's like a ticking clock coming down, like to when you're going to start, performing in front of millions of people, you know?
That's a very weird thing. Actually, throughout the show, because it's only a 10-week show, I was used to doing sort of 15 weeks on Strictly and did it for so many years. It was one of those things that once it was on, it was like ticking. It was going to end, and I felt like I was good enough to hopefully get somewhere towards the end. I wasn't hopefully going to go out in the first few weeks. So I had that feeling of I've only got might only last another 4, 5, 6. At the maximum 10 weeks, and it's all over. But bear in mind, you've already done 3-4 months of training before this point. So it was a very weird feeling as we went through the thing, and especially from the semi-final into the final. I mean, I was so relieved to make the final, because it was we did two couples got eliminated from the semi-final into the final, and then there was a 2 week or a week break between the semi-final and the final, and to miss out on the final would have been devastating. I wasn't really thinking about winning it. I never really did. I always sort of knew that Regan was going to win it, so it was one of those things of please let me make the final, and that I've just devoted at that point 5.5 months of my life to this. I want to be there for that end. Came to fruition.
Was it interesting for you that the fact that, like, obviously you've been involved in Strictly Come Dancing and you are the professional dancer, was it a very, very different feeling to be on the other shoe, if you know what I mean? Like, so you're now the contestant and you have a professional dancer with you.
It was weird. I had to check myself quite a lot because there were so many times I have strong feelings when it comes to performing.
Funny
believe it
that.
or not. Yeah, weird. And then the amount of times, let's say Vanessa would say, "Oh, I'd like to do this here," and I'd be like, but that doesn't fit the music. I mean, she's thankfully few and far between because she's a great choreographer and she does actually listen to music, unlike quite a few ice skaters. But so we were a great partnership for each other. Once she understood where I was coming from, we ended up collaborating on the choreography quite a lot. Obviously, she knows all the skating side of things and the different things we can do. But from my point of view, it was all about the musicality. For instance, our bolero for the last number, she wanted to do one particular thing, and I just said, "Listen, give me an opportunity to show you something I've been thinking about," and that was what we ended up doing for the actual number. We whereas I pushed her across the ice and we were on our knees. She pushed me across the ice, and we had this developing feeling, and then the whole routine developed from that one little moment where we created it together, and that made it really special for me because I don't think I could have just been a bystander and, okay, this is the choreography that you've told me I'm doing, so we'll do it, which it was for the first few weeks, obviously, because I didn't push that boundary too much. I said to her when we first met, whatever you say you want me to do, I will do it, and you won't get any arguments from me. That was short-lived.
You've taken that back.
I was perhaps premature on that, but at the same time, I had 15 years of experience on Strictly, where I had partners that were just a nightmare to work with, a nightmare to coach and perform with, and I didn't want to be that for my partner. I wanted her to love coming to work every day.
Having someone that came from a dance background.
Sometimes,
sure.
But dance background without the mouth would have been better for her. But she admitted to me at the end that she actually quite loved it. She quite liked it because it actually challenged her and made her think a lot more than she's used to, and she said she grew from the experience. So that's a positive, I think.
You being involved in Strictly for 16 years and then doing Dancing on Ice too, can you see those contestants that don't have the dedication and passion?
Oh, a mile away.
Yeah, and you know they're not going to get far.
Yeah, and it's not even about getting far or not getting far. It's all you really want in that situation is your partner, whoever they are, to walk in and go, right, I am here and I'm excited about it. What can we do? And then hopefully they've got, a small amount of ability which you can then work with. And if you only make week 5 or week 4, but they've dedicated their life and they've given it all they've got, you're a happy pro essentially. Give me somebody that walks in and goes, I don't want to do this. I'm not interested. I'm just here to get the fame. I'm here to get the fortune, whatever. Then that makes the job absolutely vile. And of my 15 series that I had, I had a good handful of people that were like that, and it was soul destroying, and I hated it. I hated every second of them. I had one partner that said to me on day 2, listen, I don't want to learn any of that shit you're teaching me. Just teach me the steps. I'll take care of the rest. And I went, okie dokie. So
how did you respond to that?
Well, let's just say she got a bit of the wrath. I tried to. You've got to try and do it diplomatically because you've got to spend. I mean, we spent. How far did we go on the show? We went 7 weeks. I'm talking about Lulu, by the way. I'm quite happy to say it. She was an absolute bitch. She says the same about me, so I don't care. We spent, I think we went 7 weeks or 8 weeks on the show, plus the 3 or 4 weeks of training before. And you've got to you dedicate 6-7 hours a day in the same room with somebody. It just doesn't. It can't work. You've got to have respect for your partner, and she had no respect for me. I mean, the first thing she said on the show when we got partnered together was, "Oh no, not him."
Oh, for goodness' sake.
Jesus, lady, I didn't fancy you either, you poison little dwarf. But it was stuck together. Let's make the most of it.
I think my dad had an affair with Lulu back in the 60s.
Yes, baby.
No, really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is. They're all coming out.
I think we've got more than one listener now. When we started, we weren't sure. We thought it was probably just,
We've not just got my mum, we've now got my dad.
And
No, your mum stopped listening.
Wow.
On that bombshell, where do we
ask-
go from there? Lynn, you had a
Yeah, go on,
question.
Lynn.
Not no.
Yeah, go on, then.
Actually, I was going to ask him the same question you did, but in another way round,
Oh.
which shows that we are in.
Synced. Mind melding.
No, the thing with you is that focus, like this thing of doing stuff, and what's interesting and lovely about you is that you want to do things that are positive. That when you get annoyed is when it's not the positive outcome. When you're like,
Absolutely.
oh, come on, we should be doing this and it should be positive. I
Absolutely.
wonder if you hadn't found dancing, what is there something else that you think you would have done? Would you have built bridges or something like that, or gone into politics or something?
Jesus, with the current state of politics, I wish I had. I'd sack them all.
Yeah, be easy, wouldn't it?
But yeah, exactly. I would have gone into building. I left school at 16 to build houses, or actually to roof houses, and eventually build houses because I loved working with my hands. I like the creative side of it. I love working with wood. In New Zealand, you do everything. You dig the foundations, you tie the steel, you pour the foundations, you pour the floor, you put the wooden walls up, the stud walls, you put the roof on, all of that kind of thing. So the only thing you don't really do are the electrics and the proper trades.
Can I just say that at this moment in time, I don't feel very butch after. I
Me
don't
neither,
feel
Neil.
very butch
Me neither.
or handy, really.
I feel very butch.
If it helps, I also made dresses at some point in my life. So,
does help.
Yin
It
and
does
yang.
help.
Yin and yang.
That doesn't surprise me that you would have done building though, because if there was a thing, sort of a word within story that I would use for you, it would be about construction.
Yeah.
It is about the building of or the making of things that were
making.
not there before.
Yeah.
Right. So there's an empty space, and now I'm making this thing.
Yeah, creatively, you can do things in all. I'm lucky. I get to create on a stage and have an audience enjoy hopefully what I do. But creatively, you can put up a structure. You can put a flower bed in. You can do all these sorts of things. And I just love working with my hands. So yeah, that's always been something I've done. When I was a kid, we didn't have much money, so but I loved building. So I used to take the hammer, whip the nails out of the walls of the garage and whack them together and whack two pieces of wood together just because I loved creating something. So I mean, it's a wonder the garage didn't
The
fall
garage
down
didn't fall
eventually,
apart.
No, exactly. Why is the garage on a lean? Not me.
But I do have this amazing axe.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I was always making something. I think I was destined to go into something of that field, and I'd love to build my own house at one point.
Have you got the man shed? Have you got the
see it
tools?
behind him.
Have you got all the gear? Is it all
I've-
on the wall? Everything labelled?
I've got all the gear and
no idea.
And it's sequins.
I love
It's got
tools.
sequins on it.
I went to a tool shop today because I had to buy a drill bit, and I could have walked around there for an hour just gazing at the different things, going, "Oh, okay, that's lovely, yeah,
You've got the tools and the outfits.
yeah, oh,
I
yeah."
can see a routine coming on with power tools, though. Brendan, one of the things we do in this lovely podcast is we ask our guests for a song that it has some kind of emotional connection for them, either happy or sad memories, or just something that makes them feel, Yeah. And then I take that song and recreate my own little version here in my little studio as a little gift for our guests. So tell us the song that you chose.
The song I'm very excited to hear what you've done something with is Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. Which for me, firstly, Chris Stapleton's got just the most phenomenal power behind his voice, and I love country. I've always been a fan of that kind of country sound, not the old stuff like Johnny Cash and what have you, but the newer country. I just love it. I find it really exciting to listen to. So this particular song, I actually, my wife and I both love it. It's one of those things that when it comes on, we both smile at each other, that kind of thing. Yeah. And she actually suggested that I do it in one of my tours. It was one of those things I said, yes, that's a great challenge. So I learned the song on the guitar and so then within my shows, I have between 10 and 14 musicians. So the guitarist came down and played it alongside me, so I wasn't flying solo. And then my singers, Ian and Jenna, they'd come, and so the four of us sat on these stools and and played this particular song mid-show, and it was something very different that the audience weren't really expecting, and a lovely moment in the show. So I'm very excited to see what you've done
Now
with
I've
it.
got to live up to your version.
Yeah, no pressure. Just for you, Brendan Cole, we have Chesney Hawkes singing Tennessee Whiskey.
Right, of course.
I used to spend my nights out in a ballroom, liquor was the only love I know. But you rescued me from reaching for the bottom and brought me back from being too far gone. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. Honey, I stay stoned on your love all the time. I've looked for love in all the wrong places. I found the bottom of a bottle always dry. But when you poured out your heart, I didn't waste it. Because there's nothing like your love to get me high. Yeah, you're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. Honey, I stay stoned on your love all the time. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you, mate. Good choice. I enjoyed doing it, actually.
Yeah.
You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as glass of brandy. Honey, I stay stoned on your love all the time. You're sweet as Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey.
Just for you, Brendan Cole, Chesney Hawkes performing Tennessee Whiskey.
outstanding, beautiful, and a round of applause from my wife as well. Oh my
It was a
God.
lovely moment just watching you two enjoying that. It was really nice.
And lovely to
Just
see Zoe. Please send
stunning.
my love.
Nah, I will do, Chase. I will do. Mate, thank you so much for that. It's really beautiful, really beautiful. It's a stunning song and a gorgeous rendition.
Thank
Wow.
you. I love the simplicity of that song. It's like one of the things about doing this show is that every show I have to recreate a song, and this is I think like a 20-second song I've had to do so far, something like that.
Right. Wow.
And but this is probably more actually. But anyway, is deconstructing a song. I mean, this one's pretty simple as it is, but like you have to kind of cut it right back. And I always make sure that it's like literally just me and a guitar or me and a piano, just like really simplify it. But this one just works because it's just so simple and so beautiful and lyrically just great. But I have to say, his vocal is just insane. I mean, he has such an amazingly powerful, soulful voice. Like, and I watched versions of him playing it live as well, and he's talented.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Did you see the what was it, the music awards where he did it with Justin Timberlake?
No, I haven't seen that.
Did you watch that one? What is it? The VMAs, the CMAs, Country Music Awards. Watch that version. There's a 7-minute version. They do 2 songs back to back. Him and Justin Timberlake.
I will definitely do that.
It's out of this world. You just want to be on that stage. It's phenomenal. Lovely song. Beautiful. Thank you, mate. That's awesome.
Oh no, you're totally welcome. That's all for you. I'll send you a copy.
Please.
I was going to ask one last question.
Go on.
Right. That currently in the world, in the crazy mixed up world that we live in, it's one of the things that I think people are struggling with is a lack of focus.
Right.
Is knowing what to connect to and how to join anything. It's almost an impossible question, but I feel like a swarthy pirate dancer such as yourself will be able. I should say swarthy pirate dancer, tool collector, builder as yourself should be able to answer it. Which is, if you don't have dedication, do you think there's a way that you can find it? How can you find something to be dedicated to?
I actually think it's really tricky in today's world that we're living in right now, especially for the last, whatever's been building, whatever they're doing, whatever they're up to for the last couple of 3 years. I think it's really hard to find focus. I'm struggling myself because everywhere I turn, I feel like there's almost a wall. Taxes, paying too much in tax, cost of living going up. Everybody's struggling, myself included. I make no bones about it. The cost of living is huge, and so they get to find that motivation where you feel like you're being battered from everywhere you turn. You're being either battered or the government are just taking loads of your money away for no particular reason. So I find that really tricky. But I guess it's like everything. You take one step. Once you've taken one step, you can take another step, and once you take a third step, and you build. Maybe for many, the thought of the 50 steps they've got to get to before they can reach a certain point is too much. But one step is not too much for most. 2 steps might be a push, but you keep on building. And like anything, let's say you want to put a show together. You don't start off by going, okay, we're going to put a show together. Here's everything you need. You start off and you go, right, how many people? Where are we going?
What kind of
music? You break it down, and you tick one box every day. And I think it's the same for life and everything we do. You try and find a couple of things that you need to tick off, and if you can achieve them, then hopefully you become closer to that goal. And if your goal takes you a year or 5 years. As long as you're trying to achieve it, sometimes this is the problem. Sometimes goals are too big and they're too far away, and it's too hard to get there. And especially in the last few years, for many people, so much has been taken from us that how the hell do I achieve that? All these things we've all worked for our whole lives. For me, I'm a middle-aged 46-year-old fella, and I was going places, and then all of a sudden, you take a couple of years away from that, and you start again from scratch. And it's really hard. It's really hard to find that motivation because that motivation has actually been squashed. Yeah. So one step at a time.
No, I agree. I'm more worried about like my kids' age. you know, because finding that motivation for them in particular right now is so hard.
Oh, boy.
And, I had a conversation with my eldest the other day, and, he feels a little bit stuck and doesn't quite know, where he wants to go. But, I said to him, just put one foot forward. And if you put one foot forward, then maybe you'll think about putting another foot forward. And then you'll gain momentum.
It really is, and when you're having those difficult times, motivation is at its very lowest. And listen, I'll tell you a little story. When Dancing Lights came along for me, which is we're going back to maybe middle of last year. At that point, I hadn't had a gig in a year and a bit, and it was things were tough financially and emotionally more so than anything, because I became a dad, a full-time dad, doing the school run every morning, every afternoon, dropping them at the party, drop them here, go and pick up the shopping, cook the meals, and I had a real lack of motivation to even think about what project can I find, where can I go from here, because it seemed like everything was kind of pointless, especially that time. Theatres weren't open, nothing, the television weren't really booking. I live in Mallorca. I'm not there now, I'm in England at the moment, but I had this real low point, and when Dancing on Ice came along, it was almost like a lifeline. Here you go. Do you want to do this? Absolutely. Give me the skates. I want to start now. And so for me, that was it was a real chance for me, I suppose. And through that, my motivation grew back, even though the government still want lots of money from me, and they're making living almost impossible. I have that motivation back to go, right, what's my next thing? I'm going to go and take it now. I'm back in the game.
Yeah.
So for many people that don't have that, right, I'm back in the game. So I'm very lucky. But I know a lot of people out there will have had those same feelings that I had this time last year, and they'll still be in that feeling of depression and how do I get myself out of that? One step at a time. Make a small goal.
There's a nice phrase for it, actually, I think, from you, which is, it's one step to begin the dance.
Oh,
yes, baby.
One
there you
step
go.
to begin
like
the
that.
dance.
Sounds like a song title to me.
Right? Oh, Chesley's like, write it down.
Let's see, what key is this?
Brendan Cole, you have been a joy. What a little joy you are, you
Pleasure.
swarthy, tool-belted pirate, you.
I was happy to be asked and happy to accept. Thank you very, very much.
No,
Thanks for
thank
having
you
me on.
so much for coming on, Brendan. It's so good to see you. And I know that we have been absolutely rubbish at seeing each other. We'd have to...
Long distance relationship, my friend.
Mate.
It's a long distance relationship, but we like it. It's
Yeah,
okay.
we do. And I still love you and Zoe, of course. And I can't wait to meet you kiddos.
Absolutely. Well, mate, a pleasure. Thank you very, very much. Love to Chrissy and the kids. Say bye.
Brendan, thank you so much for taking the time.
thank you.
It's been a pleasure to have you. Brendan Cole on our
Bye,
podcast.
guys.
Bye, Brendan. Thank you. Well, there you go, Tim. The love. You
I
were
told
right,
you.
Ches. One of the nicest guys in show
he's
business,
a
right?
beautiful man. He really is. And I just spending that time with him there makes me realise that I've been stupid in not seeing him more. He's lovely.
Yeah, he's
And so is
lovely.
Zoe. His wife is so gorgeous and so lovely. So yeah. I'm glad you guys got to spend some time with him.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable. Sorry, Lynn. Go
No,
on.
I was going to say, I think that I really, I felt like I understood him, because he's been painted as being like sort of demanding and bad-tempered, and all sorts of things have been said about him. And so when you said, like, Brendan's coming on, I was like, oh, he's swarthy,
He's going to be feisty.
right? But actually, you can totally see his point. Like, he wants good stuff to happen. That's what he wants. He doesn't want to faff about and waste time. He wants to build. When he said he
about
would
quality.
be a builder,
Yeah, it's rules.
But when he said he would be a builder, I was like, of course you would be a builder. Of course you would.
Well, you said
want
it
to
first.
make things.
That's what I loved about that, Lynn. You said, would you have been a builder? And he was like, yes. You are Mystic Maine.
What a lovely guy.
That was lovely to talk about our topic, our word of the show, wasn't it? Dedication.
Yeah, we really covered it.
So what do you feel
Absolutely.
like you've learned about dedication? Do you think you think about... I mean, obviously you've learned more than the rest of us, Neil, because you've been looking up the Wikipedia. But
No, I think it's quite simple. I think obviously Brendan's childhood affected him, and that he decided he was going to roll his sleeves up and make things happen and do stuff, and that was his role. And I think it's born into you. Probably what happened to him as a child. It was formed, and he just became someone that if you need shit done, you either need a Lynn, right?
Why
or
me?
maybe you need a Brendan.
I don't get shit done. I make Mark get it done. I'm like, Mark, I need things.
Do you know what I always used to say? My old boss, bless her, Carol Humphrey, she's a woman in a man's world. And I always used to say, if you want shit done, ask Carol. She will get shit done. And she did. And now we add Brendan Cole to that list of people that
He
get
inspired
shit
me,
done.
actually. I felt like I saw the passion in him when he talked about his show. And putting it all together and sitting back and watching it, and the pride that was, bubbling up, and you could see it in his eyes. And then he had the same thing talking about power tools and like wanting to build a house, And, it's inspiring, It made me want to work with him. It's like, I felt like kind of jumping and saying, Brendan, should we do something together? Should we do a show together?
Should we go pick up a leaf blower?
I want to go dig a hole with you.
Well, in essence, getting him to do this podcast is a little bit like digging a hole, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, come and be in the hole of our podcast. I feel brainier after this podcast, and I feel more inspired about people. That's what I feel.
Me too. Me too.
I feel like that people are quietly trying to do good stuff while I'm here with my chickens and my bees and my worms.
Well, you're doing good stuff there.
Do you think?
That's all good stuff.
Yeah, you're just doing you're doing chicken and bee good stuff. Yeah. So I think all that remains to say is thank you very much, listener, for listening. We really,
Thanks,
we
Mum.
really appreciate that you stuck with us till the very end.
So I've been Ferguson.
I've been Harrington,
And I've been Hawks.
and we will see you next time. Ciao, ciao, everyone. Bye, bye.
Ciao.
You've been listening to Ferguson Harrington Hawks with Lynn Ferguson, Neil Harrington and Chesney Hawks. Written and produced for Source Productions by, surprise, surprise, Lynn Ferguson, Neil Harrington and Chesney Hawks.